Folks, 3.8 on the 10-year treasury, 3.8. We can see this move, this breakout of the yields, bonds selling off. What in the world is going on in the markets? We are going to dive into this as we do every single day, market updates, get in, get out, see what's actually going on in the market, the dog that wags the tail. This is what we want to focus on. Most people are looking at the stock market. That's the problem. Most people get their investing wrong. They get things wrong. From everything I've seen in my career, they get their investing wrong because they're looking at the stock market. They're trying to read and be Warren Buffett and read 10Qs and 10Ks and stuff like that. They're trying to be some like master fundamental trader and things like that. Being a real macro trader, looking at the economy from 30,000 foot view is quite honestly the easiest way to do it. Price versus value, looking at like say how Mike Maloney does it, or like a Jim Rogers, looking at really macro level and just seeing where is life going. Excuse me. At the end of the day, we know where life's going. We know there's massive printing ahead. We absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt, $31.5 trillion in debt, $250,000 per taxpayer. That's not coming out of the taxpayer's hand like directly. So where do you think that's coming from? Well, it's going to be more printing of currency. It's going to be more typing digits furiously into a computer. So get ready, buckle up, prepare, get independent, get resilient. Bitcoin, gold, silver. That's all there is to it. Our portfolio is coming out today as well. You can see on our YouTube channel, you can see on our blog. The link is in the description of our blog, and we break down the portfolio. You can see it, you read it, get my thoughts on the portfolio breakdown of all the asset classes we are in. Most people only invest in one asset class. I think it's like 50 or 60% of all people are invested in one asset class, and that's generally the paper asset class. It's some type of like life insurance, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, 401ks, all that stuff, ETFs. That's all the same asset class. That's all paper assets. One swing in the market, you're gone. You're wiped out. We saw that happen in 2008. We saw it happen in 2020. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen on a massive, massive scale. We don't know when that's going to be, but we watch. What we do here is we watch every day. We follow some of the greatest thinkers in the world, the Dr. Jeff Ross of the world, Greg Fosses, the Jim Rogers of the world, the Mike Maloneys. We go through a litany of people to find what we think and deem to be the closest to the right answer, because we're never 100% right? It's only probabilities at the end of the day. So we have to figure out what's going on. But we want to position ourselves in the life raft because we know things are coming. My story at the end of the day is being a college student at Michigan State University when the great financial crisis was happening, graduating then in 2008, 2009, seeing that play out, and then understanding right after that the Federal Reserve, both sides are playing us, both political sides. Oh no, we have to get out of the system. I got to develop my skills, and I have to do that. And that's what I've done the last 15 years is develop my skills, my investing, my business owning, my management of people, understanding markets and cycles, understanding what money truly is. Money has to be a store of value, and it's generally been gold and silver for thousands of years. Now it is Bitcoin, the hardest form of money to ever exist. And this is not financial advice; it's freedom advice. And I'm not promoting securities here, so where it doesn't even matter at the end of the day. I'm not a financial advisor. We are people who have done our homework, and I manage my own money. I manage my family office and what we do, and have grown it and continue to double it basically every other year for the last 10, 15 years. So this is what we do every single day because we follow the obvious things that are going on at the end of the day. This isn't hard. You don't need to be trading options and doing all kinds of crazy stuff at the end of the day. Go to work, which is what most people do. And you can become financially free if you put your wealth, your time and energy into the hardest money container possible. That's all money is a container at the end of the day. And if you have inflation attached to that, somehow, some way, it's going to leak out. And if you're holding your wealth in government assets, or government liabilities, we should say, so dollars, pesos, yen, renminbi, and then anything related to that, it could be stocks, bonds, all those markets, you're going to have a big problem going forward because inflation is leaking that out. And because of this, we know they're going to print massively to get themselves out of this. Like Lynn Alden says, in the 40s, they had to do it. Debt to GDP was, I believe, over 100%. It's 120% now, and they have to get that down. They've got to get down to 190, 80% of debt to GDP, and they got a long way to go, and it's only going to be done through printing to try to ease their way into it. In soft landing, people are going to have to pay higher prices. Again, if you don't want to be, if you want to be paying too much for things, then keep your wealth in the dollar, your time and energy. Here it is. Here's Bitcoin versus the dollar, been destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. That dollar has been just decimated by Bitcoin the last 5-10 years. Here again, another example. If you keep your wealth in dollars, your life gets exponentially harder. You have to find more and more dollars to buy the same carton of eggs or the same car, the same house. Now, if you have been holding the last 7 years, in 8 years, whatever it is, in Bitcoin, last 10 years, last 14 years in Bitcoin, now you're buying whole farms, you're buying car dealerships, you're buying subdivisions, you're buying hotels, not a house, not a car. So hold your value, your time and energy in a perfect container, in a finite container. The only finite thing I know of besides their time is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is time and time is Bitcoin. It's the only fair trade. Why would a smart investor invest their time and energy that's finite for something that's infinite? I could just keep if you said, hey, Brandon, I'm going to give you grains of sand for your time and energy. I'd be like, what are you talking about? I can just go get more grains of sand. That's what literally what someone's doing with a dollar or a renminbi or a peso or a bolivar. A government fiat currency is something someone just prints up and obliterates it, and you get left holding the bag. So here we are. The 10-year treasury is what the dog that wags the tail. At the end of the day, this is what we're watching. This is the most important thing to be watching. Move this thing out of the way. And this is at 3.8. So now we're starting to get towards warning levels a little bit. We get to 3.9, 4.4 on the treasury. It's the yield. It's gonna be alarm bells going off. We got the 4.4, 4.5. What was this? 5 months ago, 6 months ago, and things were, there's alarm bells going off. They had to reverse course. Now we have global positive QE going on in the world. So even though they're saying, hey, we're bringing inflation down and yada yada, they're not. They're pumping stuff in. This is why the yield has been going back down. They've been buying up bonds. People all over the world, the central banks, the Federal Reserve, and now something's breaking again. Something's breaking again. So we're going to continue monitoring this, but this keeps trickling up over the last couple of weeks. We're going to continue monitoring this. So be prepared. I just tweeted out the other day, a couple days ago, now might be a good time to get some food storage, get some clean water, maybe get some firearm security, ammo, get some, you build up your community around you, get to know your neighbors, the people around you. It's the number one thing in preparedness situations, because these things are coming. If we just did videos on this, I went to Michigan State, it's my alma mater. There's a shooting there, right? And there's some kids that went to that go to that school now that were just involved in Oxford shooting, the mass shooting that killed 4 kids. So what are we doing at the end of the day? This is going to speed up because we have a problem with opioids. We have many mental diseases going on right now. I mean, the things, my wife is an attorney, Social Security attorney, and the things she sees and things she hears with people's kids in high school, I mean, it's mind-blowing. The things they talk about, things I didn't even know about until I was in my 20s, talking about like different pills now and stuff like that, absolutely mind-blowing. Where do you think that ends up? Where do you think this ends up? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, these people go into normal society. Of course, it's going to lead to crazy things. This is literally not rocket science. This is 2 + 2 = 4. This is why this channel is about building community and getting prepared and understanding the world we are going into. And the world we have made our bed and we are going to lie in it. But it doesn't have to be that way for all of us. There are going to be a few people. There are going to be the 1% that are going to, the true 1%, the people like us that are preparing, that are going to take over and build this back up. A polling standard, as the founder said, that the wise and just can repair. And that's what we're doing here. And that's what they did for us. And that's what we're going to do for everyone else. It's not because it's not being conceited or something like that. It's just those that are prepared. It's not that we're smart and geniuses. I'm not a rocket scientist. I was a hockey player. I was a hockey player for 20 years. And I was just a hunter. I prepared. I was a hunter. I was a saver. I saved capital. And then I got into investing and understanding money and how it works and educating people on money and how it worked. And my friends, my family, it started there and then expanding out. And really understanding the basic premise of money and what it actually means in the church and Catholicism, Christianity, and people not understanding what money is, and they think money is evil, and they've just been told that for thousands of years. It's just passed down. It's not. The love of money is evil. What people do with money is evil. Money is just a tool, like we said the other day. Guns, firearms, money, hammer, knife. They're all tools. It's just what the human does with it could be good or bad. That's it. And people get this so twisted. We have to remove ourselves from emotion and use logic and common sense and first principles and nature's laws to understand and make decisions. This is how the greatest and most successful people use those frameworks to make successful decisions in life. So we have the United States at 3.8. This is something we have to keep our eye on. We have to keep our eye on. The market's not liking, kind of what the Fed's saying. They're continuing, hey, we're going to raise rates. They can kind of sniff the BS coming out saying, oh, look, the jobs report's amazing. But CPI is about the same. We had just had terrible CPI reports in Argentina, Brazil, 99% inflation. I mean, it's absolute clown world. And people are starting to sniff that. They're starting to say, you know what? I don't know about that. So what's going on? What else is going on here? Actually, let's go to the Forex. Let's go to the DXY. The DXI is 104. You haven't seen that in, a week or two, a couple weeks? Really, probably a month. Actually, so we had this trajectory downward. Now we can see the DXY going up, gaining strength, people selling out of the bonds, and the yield going up there and jumping in the dollar. So people are getting a little worried. And again, when the dollar goes up, this starts crushing things. So we have to be very careful. It starts crushing things around the world. So we have to be very careful of what's going on here. We have to prepare. Because again, the more that this happens, the more there's chaos and unrest around the world. And I've said this a million times, the wealth gap and the dollar being weaponized and crushing other countries too. This is good. This is the biggest issue we have of our time right now. It's not climate change, all this other garbage that the media wants you to focus on, look here, not there. It's the wealth gap. And those at the very top, the 0.1 of 1% that are at the currency spigot, doling it out to themselves and their buddies, those are the people that are on trial. Hands down. That's it. Someone asked me the other day, like, why is it that, the IMF, Georgieva or whatever her name is, was over there, on Twitter. I went down the rabbit hole and why, oh, hey, we're going to make these great deals with you guys and we can't wait to help you out of your inflation. And like, there's people like, oh, hey, shaking their hand. Like, how do these people not know? Like, just the country over, like they defaulted 9 times and you guys just defaulted 10 years ago. Why are we doing this again with IMF and being indebted by them and stripped of our resources? Because the answer is those people in the picture, those handful of people you see that were with her, 5 people, 10 people, they're the ones that make out. Everyone else loses. So the people at the top, the baddest of the baddest, get to the top by hook or by crook, and then they get to profit because they know that. And they say, hey, I'm going to do anything I can to get into power because that's my only way out of here. And then they just perpetuate the system. Bitcoin changes all that. That's what Bitcoin completely disrupts. Bitcoin in Africa is massive right now. Go check out Nigeria, like the 5th, 6th, 7th biggest country in the world by population, and the Bitcoin adoption rate is massive. Same thing with Argentina or Brazil. I can't remember now, the massive inflation rate and massive Bitcoin adoption going on there because people are starting to see the free market at work at what is going on. So the DXY is at 104. Wow, this is just incredible times. We have to keep our heads on a swivel here. Bitcoin is almost at 23. So, some big jumps here. Really kind of all over the market. Oil is kind of staying pat, hit a little bit down to 78. And then gold and silver both down about 1%. Because again, you have the people running the dollar. They're usually running away from gold and silver. And then again, Bitcoin up though 2%. So people think Bitcoin's like this risk asset. They think, oh my goodness, like whatever. Bitcoin's not. Bitcoin is the least risky asset you could potentially have. It's not the time to talk about it here now, but it will decouple from everything else. And you're starting to see a decoupling here. It's been moving almost inverse from gold and silver and a lot of stuff in the recent few months. You're going to see that speed up as people realize all over the world, oh my gosh, this is the monetary network we never had with gold and silver, right? So that's what to look for. And let's see here really quick before we end. Is Bitcoin running? Let's see. Beautiful. It's running. As Nolan Bowerly says, sun is up. Bitcoin is running. We'll refresh this. The mempool, the actual mempool, all the nodes, the hundreds of thousands of nodes, people all over the world. It's whack-a-mole. That's why I said it's the hardest asset you could ever obtain. It's the most secure network because you have hundreds of thousands of nodes and miners running the network every second of every day, running the network for you. You can get out 999,999 of them, whatever, and there's still one left. Boom, it's up and running. And there's on satellites, it's everywhere. You can't knock this out, unless there's an act of God, unless the sun runs into the earth, right? That's maybe the only way. So here it is. It's running in real time. We can see it. And let's see what else. Time chain stats, time chain calendar, amazing. If you want to go see what's happening there. Inflation, well, we still know that they're lying to us, and it's not 6%, it's around 14, 15%, so we have to understand that. And Bitcoin is at number 18 on all the world assets. Bonds are not on here, but the world assets are on here, and real estate's not either, but they would be up here. But again, Bitcoin is right there. Bitcoin is so nascent, so small still, but yet right up there, the top 15, top 20 assets. We already showed the debt. This is how we know. This is the central banker's guarantee, as Mike Maloney says. He says gold and silver have a guarantee. Well, Bitcoin has a guarantee as well. It's obviously the best performing asset of the last 15 years in human history. And it's going to continue because it's the only asset that's completely finite. So we know that central bankers are guaranteed to continue printing. We know that for a fact. The IMF paper from 2012, and we know that from Ben Bernanke, everyone saying we have to print our way out. Basically, deflation is not going to happen here. So we know it has a central banker guarantee. That's how we know mathematically Bitcoin is going to continue going up. It's really as simple as that. So I appreciate you guys coming to my TED Talk today, as my lovely wife says. We already showed you the Bitcoin destroying the dollar, and what happens when you're on a Bitcoin standard versus if you're on a dollar standard here. So I appreciate your time and energy. It's the most important asset we have. Time is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is time. The only two finite assets we have. Please like, please subscribe to the channel if you are liking this content. We have a lot of our viewers that are not subscribed to the channel, so please subscribe, and please share this with someone that you think might get something out of this. And then check out some of the other videos we did. I went on a really impassioned rant yesterday about the MSU shooting and just the, it was just a classic case of all the gun control facts or all the gun control narratives lacking all facts and just completely falling flat on its face. That was an unbelievable example of when are we going to start learning how to handle firearms and growing up with firearms, just like we do cars and knives. No one cares about those things. So I get into that. Please go check that out. Give me your comments there, because we just went through basic common sense first principle arguments over and over and laid them all out. So please let me know what your thoughts are there, and what your thoughts are with the market here too. And I appreciate you more than you know, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.